Hello and welcome to this business success conversation with Carthy Accountants, helping you get the business you want. I'm Michael Carthy, Managing Director of Carthy Accountants, and today I am joined by Edith Woodward, our Accounts Associate Director. Hello, Edith.
Hello, Michael.
Are you okay?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. So thinking about business in general and how people run businesses, there's a lot of people who don't anticipate the costs behind it. What are those things that cost money that you don't think people appreciate when they're setting up in business?
A lot of it is things that are almost like hidden costs. Most people, when they're setting up a business, know what they're trying to sell, know the costs associated to that, but they don't know the concept of the cost to run that business. A lot of that might be technology costs. So, really, in this day and age, to actually successfully run a business, you want to be utilizing technology as much as possible. That does come with costs. They can start off small, so each individual subscription might only be £10 to £20 a month, but they soon add up when you combine them. You've got the other running costs of employees, you've got the running costs of insurance, a lot of things that are needed to make your business run smoothly.
So that's an interesting one. With insurance, there's obviously essential insurances, and then there's good to have insurances. What are the insurances that people don't necessarily think of?
A lot of them might be, particularly for one-man bands, can be key person insurance, which basically covers individuals that if they are the key person in the business, if something happens to them, it will still generate an income source for the company, or the business, I should say. The other ones would be things like the obvious ones that everyone should know about, which is your professional indemnity, your public liability, if you've got employments, so employers' insurance as well. You've also,
I think actually employers' liability is mandatory.
is it mandatory
I
now?
think it's the only one
No.
that's mandatory.
So we've got that one. You've also got other things such as relevant life insurance. So that's another good one that you can put through your business. So it's a life insurance policy that your business can legitimately pay for.
So there are a lot of costs that come up that people don't always plan for. I think one where I see a really big challenge changing people's mindset is valuing their own time and what time costs. How do you find that conversation goes?
It depends for that conversation where people are coming from. So if they come from an employment background, they're not necessarily valuing their actual time. So, for example, they might price up a job, for example, in an IT, for example, in an IT consultant job. They might not actually value the time as being a day rate or an hourly rate, and they're forgetting that part of the profit of that has to be generating the income for them to survive.
Absolutely. I mean, look at us, as an accounting firm, any professional services firm, all we sell is time. We don't have a base product. We are selling the time of people. So you have to consider that as you say, when you're quoting.
So when you're in a service company, definitely, but when you're in a goods company and you're generating and making something, the people that are making it won't necessarily factor in that job's taken me 20 hours to make that. And actually, at minimum wage, you suddenly got a base cost just for your labour of over £200. And they're forgetting that, and they might price it at 150 because that's what they feel is valued in the market for that. But actually, they're doing themselves a disservice.
I think another one people sort of don't think about is professional fees, professional service fees, whether that's us as accountants right through to sort of HR and that sort of thing. They start to take people on and they,
Mhm.
don't think they're going to have to get contracts written up, that sort of thing. How do you find those conversations go when you're talking to people?
So it's quite surprising when people come in and they're not factoring in the costs for professional services. And it can be solicitors, it can be HR specialists. You've then got accountants, which obviously they're coming to see us, so they've got in their minds they need to have an accountant, but they won't necessarily think about the cost of having those. But actually, what the conversation goes with myself usually is you need to think about the cost of not having them. So if you don't have a solicitor in place and suddenly something goes wrong or a connection to a solicitor, the cost of trying to fix it yourself can then generate more problems that cost even more to fix. Similarly, for an accountant, if you try and do your own figures, your own tax returns, etc., if you're not claiming the right amount of expenses, it ends up costing you a lot more in the long run if you just pay an accountant to ensure you're being as tax efficient as possible.
Absolutely. So if someone is out there and they're listening to all of this and they're just getting their head around the actual realistic costs, what's your advice to them?
Speak to people. Speak to other people that have set up in business. If you're just starting out, there are plenty of actual support out there. Come speak to an accountant. We're here to help businesses grow. We're in a prime position. We've watched businesses start from their back bedrooms and growing into being in multi-offices and offices around the country. So we're in a prime position to be able to support them with that. Look around on forums as well. As daft as that might sound, there's real social media out there that can really help. The other big thing to do as well would be to build a budget. So you might know what your end sales price is going to be, but is that realistic? You need to look at what all your costs are going to be and make sure you're building a profit margin into your sales price to ensure you're actually going to get the business you want.
Brilliant. Thank you, Edith. And thank you for listening to today's business success conversation with Carthy Accountants, helping you get the business you want. See you next time.